Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Do you suffer from anxiety? Then you gotta listen to this video because we're gonna talk about 3 ways that we can help overcome anxiety. Let's get right into it. So first, let's talk about what is it. It's one of those things that's hard to kind of describe, but if I had to summarize it into a really quick sentence, it would be our body and our mind's response to real or perceived stress. So it's the way that our body reacts to stress, whether it's real or perceived. So what does that mean physically? It means that our heart rate will go up. It means that our adrenaline will start pumping. It means that our body and our mind thinks that there is a stress around. So in another video, I talked about fight or flight. And I think that evolution wise, this kind of stress response kind of carried through in our DNA to kind of self-protect, right? So that the species can evolve. But nowadays, because we don't live in those environments anymore, and we have different kinds of experiences, we still do have stress, and that stress kind of manifests itself as anxiety. And but I like if you're asking me personally, Sophia, what is it? I think that the root of anxiety is fear. Fear is what drives anxiety because it's like, what if, right? We're always asking, what if this happens? What if that happens? That's what causes our anxiety. And we're going to talk about how our mind makes it worse or makes it better in a moment. So, what causes it? I already talked about that. It's kind of like a perceived stress. Different factors can cause anxiety. It also is genetic, so it's passed down. You know, lots of members of my family have anxiety. So it could be genetic, it could be environmental, it could be nurture, so nature versus nurture. All kinds of things cause anxiety. One of the important things to note is that a lot of the times, anxiety, when we have anxiety, it's because we don't have the internal mechanisms to kind of walk ourselves down from that. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So here are 3 ways to help with anxiety. The first thing, and we don't talk about this one enough, okay? The first thing is physical. Sometimes, and this is huge. Sometimes our physical instrument is uncomfortable. It could be uncomfortable for many reasons. Like for instance, in my particular case, I was very short on vitamin B. So my anxiety when I was in my early 20s was through the roof, as I mentioned in another video. But I did notice that when I started taking B100s, my anxiety levels went down a lot. So the physical part of it is like your physical instrument is how is it doing? Because if your physical body is not right, that can give you anxiety. Like when like sometimes when you have a tummy ache, and you're not sure if it's your tummy or if it's anxiety, but it could be both. It could be something's off in your intestinal tract and it's not making you feel good and it's causing anxiety. So there are so many things. So one of the main things to do to help move the nervous energy out of your body is to exercise. So to go for walks, as little or as long as you can handle. And I find the immersive ones, like swimming, where your body is literally surrounded with water, I find that extremely calming. It's very good for the nervous system, right? So, and that's a topic for a whole nother video, is how anxiety and depression are, it's a kind of a disorder of the nervous system, but we can talk about that in more depth in another video. But essentially, we want to get our physical instrument working the best possible. So if you're suffering from anxiety, try to get a blood test done and get all your levels taken. I'm talking I'm talking the vitamin B's, get your vitamin D tested, check out your iron levels, check out all your levels, because something might be off just physically, and with a little bit of adjusting with a vitamin could help enormously. It's, of course, there's no magic pill, like I always say, but it could take you from like anxiety from a 10 stress, like panic mode, and to like a 6, and then you can work on the other 2. solutions, which I'm about to talk about. So just make sure that your physical body is happy and healthy, because when it's not, it does give us anxiety, and there could be simple solutions for that. The second one is cognitive therapy. I know that cognitive therapy helped me enormously because I was able to identify the scary thoughts that were causing me to constantly put me on the panic, pressing the panic button. I know that I was going through PTSD at the time, but there's anxiety in my family, so that like I was anxious for 6 million different reasons. Okay, so for me, I had to like filter out which one at a time. Yeah, cognitive therapy will help you identify catastrophic thinking, like, oh my God, if I do this, like the house is going to burn down. If I go out on the street, I'm going to get hit by a car. I apologize if I'm touching my nose a lot. I seem to have allergies. The weather is unseasonably warm here in Canada today. Yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, so cognitive therapy will help you identify those catastrophic thoughts that are propelling you into constant panic mode. So it'll teach you how to walk yourself down from that. And an example is, for instance, um, uh, if I go outside, something bad's going to happen. You can tell yourself, well, I've been outside 100,000 times in my life, and has something happened then? No. So like, look outside? Is it scary? Is there a danger out there? Is there a threat? No. Okay. So then you start asking yourself those logic based questions, and it doesn't take a day. It takes time, weeks, months, maybe, to help walk your brain through um, those catastrophic thoughts, and just walking yourself down from them. And my dad, God rest him, I've been thinking about him a lot recently. And I remembered this morning something that he told me. He said, and this is from the yoga practice that he took in the in the 70s, and he shared that with me probably shortly before he passed, because that's when I was going through the worst of my issues. He said to me, "Your mind is like an elephant, and your mind is going to go whichever way you lead it. So if you are constantly steering your mind in a scary direction, you're going to constantly be anxious." So I guess he was trying to tell me in that moment is just, if you learn to manage your catastrophic thinking, you're going to learn to manage the fear, because the root of it is fear, right? And I can do a whole nother video just on fear and how I overcame. I feel like I had a lot of inner demons. Yeah, I'll save that for another video. That was kind of pretty intense work that I did to work through that. But we're talking about anxiety today, so the cognitive therapy will really, really help you walk yourself down. But you got to get yourself a good therapist. And this is me, Sophia, talking. Don't get yourself a therapist that is gonna do this the whole time. Mhm. 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 No, you don't want that. You want somebody who's going to challenge you, who's going to challenge your thoughts. Well, not in an aggressive way, God forbid, no, but somebody who's going to make you think and stimulate that light bulb in your head. Like, where does that come from? How can I heal it? How can I work through it? And don't get your therapist that's just gonna, or even a psychiatrist that's just gonna prescribe you medication and let you walk out of his office. No, you want somebody who's gonna, and this is just my opinion, you can disagree with me if you want, but somebody's going to really challenge you and help you and give you the tools and the techniques to walk yourself down from that catastrophic thinking, because that's really one of the big things. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about medication for anxiety specifically. So there are a couple of different kinds of medication for anxiety, and some of the SSRIs out there, they're for depression and anxiety, and that's what I'm on. I find it helps more with the depression and not so much with the anxiety, the particular medication that I'm on. Maybe if you're on a different kind of medication, it helps better for both. But my doctor told me that I'm at the very very lowest dose, and we tried doubling the medication to help with the anxiety because the depression was better, and it turned into a bit of a zombie, and I couldn't function. I was like sleeping, and it was very anyway. You have to find a medication that works for you in terms of the SSRIs. Now, if you're talking about, I call them the PAMs. Watch out for those PAMs because the lorazepam, the diazepam, those I would really recommend using those. And again, I'm not a doctor. I would use those short term if you're in a crisis mode, and sparingly if you can. Excuse me. If you're in like a absolute crisis mode and you cannot function, take it for a short period of time. And the reason why, and I'm sure that if you've tried these medications before, they work and they're great, but they tend to be addictive. And so we have addiction issues in our family, and I took it for a very very short period of time just to get me through the hard moments. But I stopped taking them once I started to feel better because I was, in my personal case, I was afraid of getting addicted because, we have addiction issues in our family. So those are the three things. They all have, like, medication has its place. And that was my shoe. I didn't fart. um, but I'm sure if I did, nobody would care anyways. But yeah, so those are the three things. So ensure your physical body is healthy and happy, and there's no imbalances there, like mineral wise and vitamin wise. Find yourself a really really good therapist who's going to be there for you and support you and challenge you gently in the ways that you need to be challenged, and find the right combination of medications that work for you. And if you decide not to do the medication route, gosh, that's a really good one. Uh, Good on you. That's very brave. But I will say, if you find that nothing is helping, then maybe it's time for medication. But again, I can't speak for you. You have to do what's best for you. It's about, for me, it's about quality of life versus quantity of life. If you want to enjoy the life that you've got, you got to do everything you can to try to do that. And I know that it's hard. So I'm gonna wind up there. There's so many other things to talk about. But those are the three things that I would suggest if you're suffering from anxiety. And been there and I've done that. And I've got the T-shirt, but there is ways to overcome it. I find it easier to treat anxiety than to treat depression. That's just my particular case. I hope that those techniques work for you. Reach out if you have any questions or you want to discuss it further. Please feel free to reach out. Also, feel free to follow me on any of the platforms. I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, and I'm on TikTok. So go ahead and follow me, and for more tips and techniques on how to help succeed in life despite having anxiety and depression. This is the Mood Lady signing out. Love you all. Have a good one.